Let's see. You want me to share my screen?
Yes, but that would be after I introduce you,
Okay,
and
cool.
yeah,
Sounds good.
we are live on YouTube now. So we'll be starting in the next 1 minute.
Perfect.
Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. It's another amazing day. And today we have the wonderful, amazing Patrick, InfoSec Pat himself on today's session. So just a brief introduction about the community, right? So the cybercriminal community is one that is dedicated to raising the new generation of cybersecurity professionals, starting from Africa and definitely going around the world. And this is our fifth session, right? We started since January, right? And it has been amazing from we had the likes of Glenn on the session, we had the likes of Okoyemi too on the session. He has been very wonderful. And today is no exception. We have the wonderful Mr. Pat on today's session. So just a brief introduction of InfoSec Part is a dedicated senior cybersecurity professional with a strong foundation in penetration testing and defensive security, with a proven track record of identifying vulnerabilities and implementing robust security measures. Over the years, he has honed the skills across various aspects of cybersecurity, from conducting pen testing to developing security strategies. His experiences across different industries effectively allowing him to adapt and respond to unique security challenges. Personally, for me, I join part sessions every Thursday. It's been very amazing. It also has a community tool for ethical hackers called the ISP 1337 hackers. The Discord channel, we have wonderful minds on that place too. So I'll be giving the mic to Pat to take this from here. Good morning, Pat. How are you doing today?
Good, good, good. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you and everyone else who has joined. I guess I'll share my screen and we can get this
Yeah.
thing cooking. Oh, you disabled screen sharing, so you have to allow me to screen share. Oh, did we lose you? Not sure what happened. Are you there, Dan? Uh,
Me?
oh yeah, I can see now. You just have to enable screen sharing.
Oh, okay. Just a minute, please.
No problem.
All right, I think you should be able to do that now.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. All right. So let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Sweet. All right. So yeah, a little bit about me. Dan already did a little intro, so I'll go down this little path right here. My name is Patrick Gorman, but on the internet I go by InfoSec Pat. I am a cybersecurity professional, cool little hacker, defensive guy, whatever you want to call me. I started in, the typical network system engineering background, and now I'm a professional hacker or whatever you want to call us. I don't know. I do content creation on YouTube. My channel is InfoSec Pat. If you want to go check it out, you can subscribe today. Thank you. And I really enjoy the offensive side, which is called red teaming and network penetration testing. That's where most of my bread and butter is, and blue teaming. So understanding Microsoft's ecosystem, Microsoft security ecosystem, CrowdStrike, all the threat intel type stuff. I don't, advertise that too much, but that's what I do, a lot of the time. And other things I like to do is obviously I like working out. I play hockey, ice hockey, and I play roller hockey. I enjoy traveling. I've spoken at multiple conferences, Hack Space Con, different B-sides, small little villages in DEF CON, Black Hat, and many other little conferences around the world, pretty much. I've traveled overseas to speak, and it's been really, really awesome. Super blessed. And my social medias, I guess my Twitter or X is InfoSecPat, Instagram is InfoSecPat, and obviously my YouTube. And if you want to check out my LinkedIn, you can check out my LinkedIn and my Facebook. I don't really use Facebook too much, but it's there. All right. So today's talk or today's session is the ideal six figures of cybersecurity professionals, right? So six figures is not going to come overnight. You're not going to just wake up at, a lot of folks here or in Africa, right? So maybe you're doing whatever you're doing today. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and making six figures. It didn't happen for me. I guarantee it's not going to happen for you. But how can we get there? That's the that's the question. And I do have friends that are from overseas. I work with one that's from, Africa, and he's making well over six figures. I know that. He's on my team, so I know what he makes. But let's get into how can we do that, right? So mastering the fundamentals, understanding, what is TCP/IP, what is subnets, what is a DNS server, right? So I always focus on these areas first because if we try to jump into the hacking, the Kali Linux, the cool stuff, but you don't understand what port 53 is, which is DNS, right? If you're seeing DNS on a domain controller or port 88 or port 389 for LDAP or whatever it is, you're not going to get very far. So understanding these networking fundamentals are critical for your success, right? Operating systems, learning the operating systems, Windows, Linux. You can do Mac, mobile, and all that, Android. But the main two are Linux and Windows, right? And then the security principles, right? The CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, availability. Understanding these things are super, super critical, right? Risk management. This is not the fun stuff. Maybe GRC is not for you, but it's definitely something you should know, and you can make a lot of quote unquote money. But I want to put this out there. I understand, this is about getting six figures, right? And everyone wants to be, financially sound, living. You don't want to live in quote unquote poverty, or you don't want to live poor. Everyone wants to have a certain lifestyle. And I totally am with that because I don't come from a lot of money, right? I came from a very, very, I don't know if they have that there, but we have something called welfare here in the States. And I grew up on welfare, right? So I know how it is to be poor, eating government cheese and eating government food. I've been there, right? My family is not rich. So what I want to say is don't chase the money because the money will come. and just understand, like, wake up every morning and be happy for what you're doing, not for what the paycheck is, because you're not going to be satisfied. I can guarantee. I did that early in my career. I was like, oh shit, like I can do SQL Server database administration, like be a DBA, and they make a lot of money, but I was miserable. I hated databases. I hated SQL, right? And so I chased the money when I was younger, right? So I was there. I know how it is, and it's not fun, right? Just want to throw that out there. Excuse me. And then like cyber hygiene, right? And compliance standards. Understanding compliance standards, NIST, ISO, understanding what is FedRAMP. I don't know if they have FedRAMP there. That's more the federal government here in the US. But like understanding different compliant regulatory things, standards are definitely key, right? So mastering these, and there's so much more. I can go on and on and on, right? But these are like the things that I came up with quickly in my head that I'm like, okay, what is something that you should master and know, right? So the next thing here I have is pick a specialization, right? Just like I said, right? I wanted to be a DBA because they paid a lot of money. They paid more than a help desk or a system admin 20 years ago, right? And I was like, I just want a lot of money. I don't want to work as an electrician anymore because I was making here in the States like $10 or $11 an hour. And I was like, oh shit, like a DBA was making 70 or $80,000 an hour. 70, no, $70,000 an hour. Shit. Like $70,000 a year. So I was like, man, I want to do something that, that paid a lot of money, but trust me, it doesn't bring you happiness. So to go beyond that, general IT security roles specialize in high paying tracks, right? You want to, because this talk and this chat is all about making six figures. But remember, it's not going to happen overnight. Trust me. Um, Penetration testing and red teaming, you can definitely make a lot of money doing that. But I'm going to be honest, it's saturated. It's a saturated field. Everyone wants to hack, right? So that's why I put that up on the top, because it's like this one makes a lot of money, but there's so many people doing it, right? And then cloud security. This is more of where I do a lot of work, right? And with Azure and GCP and AWS and threat hunting, SOC analysts. So these the second and third one here are probably going to be the most accessible for you, right? A SOC analyst, because everyone needs to have their machines, their network, their infrastructure protected and alerted on, right? So threat hunting, you're going to go use different kind of tools to hunt your threats. And then I put this one at the bottom. I should have put number 4, digital forensics and DFIR. But I was in a rush. I'm not going to lie. I put this together really quick. So, Dan, forgive me. I totally forgot when he asked me about these slides. I'm like, I don't even know what this kid's talking about. And then I had to go back in the chat and I was like, oh, snap. I literally did this in like 20 minutes. So thank God he asked me about these slides because, you know, life is life. I have so much stuff going on. But so GRC, me, it's not for me. But this is a position that pays a lot of money, right? Governance, risk, and compliance. If you want to learn about the laws and the compliant regulatory stuff and all that stuff, that's up to you. Don't ask me any questions because I never worked in it and I don't know too much about it, to be 100% honest. But I have worked in every other aspect of this list. So if you want to have any questions about pen testing, cloud security, threat hunting, and DFIR, I'm your guy. GRC, I'm not your guy. Okay. So certifications that pay, right? So what certifications? And I'll speak on my certification journey because I've taken a lot of certifications in my career. I'm not going to go into cybersecurity. It doesn't really matter what certification you're taking. And at least for me, the reason why I take these certifications is to reinforce what I'm learning about that technology. I'll say that again, right? So if I'm going to learn, let's talk about GCP or Google Cloud Platform or Azure, right? Like right now, I'm doing a lot of Azure, MS365 or Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft MDE, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, MDO. So I'm learning about all this technology, but how can me, Patrick, like be satisfied and validate what I'm learning? I can go take a certification. That's what I did recently, right? I did the SC 200. So that validated the skills that I'm doing on a daily basis. I'm not doing that certification to get more money. I'm doing it for myself. Like a lot of you guys, probably students, university students, you guys are going to college, right? You guys are doing whatever you're doing for 4 years of your life. Don't you want to get that degree? You're not going to go 4 years of college and say, oh, thanks for your time and not walk away with something, right? So that's the reason why I've taken certifications and I've taken over 100 exams in my career. So, and so these are the ones that'll boost your credibility and salary in the cybersecurity space because this is what this is all about, right? The first one I always say is Security Plus. And like at least in the States, you get DoD, Department of Defense credibilities, right? So this is a great starter. So you can gather the information from the Security Plus and say, okay, I want to do cloud security, I want to do pen testing, blue teaming, or whatever you want to do, right? This is really, really a good starter. And then CISSP, this is no specific order. So don't think, oh, this, that. I just did, like I said, did this really quick. CISSP, excuse me, for those with experience in management and policy, right? So the CISSP is really, really good if you want to do policies, and you want. It's not going to be you're not going to be a hacker with a CISSP, right? It's not going to happen. But if you're like maybe a director of security or a CISO or something like that, having that CISSP under your belt will give you that credibility, right? That's all it is. CISSP is not really. I think it's a security plus on steroids. That's the way I see it. I don't see it's very technical. It's not very like it's not a hard exam. Because I took that in 2016, so I know how the exam. I don't know how it is now, but back then you have 8 domains. It was not very difficult. So, and then you have the OSCP and CPTS. So OSCP is from offensive security, and then CPTS is from hack the box. And these are hands-on offensive security certifications and offensive security skill sets, right? So me personally, I don't have my OSCP. I have my CPTS, and then I have other certifications that hold weight in the offensive security space, like PMPT, PJPT, CBBH, and some others. But you know, maybe for someone, we'll go back to the money situation, right? Offensive security is super expensive for some people, right? Me personally, if you have, for an example, a budget, I would say go for your CPTS. You learn a lot more. The content is awesome and the exam is a lot harder, right? The exam is harder, but what you're getting in that exam is soup to nuts, meaning you're going to get from beginning to end on an engagement. You're not going to just have like the OSCP from what I've heard is like, you have two AD servers and three standalone servers or something like that. And it's standalone. So meaning, what does standalone mean? That means it's like a hack the box machine, right? You have an IP address, you hack it, you do your initial access, you do your privask, you get your flag, and then write up your report of your finding and how you exploited it and blah blah blah. So it's very CTF-y. If you like CTFs, maybe OSCP is for you. And I know OSCP is very, very recognized in the community. I've been asked on interviews in the past, like, oh, you don't have I I have a story about my OSCP and I'm gonna probably make a video on that, but I'm not gonna take the time today. So be on the lookout. I will talk about my OSCP story. Um, so, and some other ones is SSCP and AWS security specialist. SSCP is from ISC Square. These are more cloud security certifications, right? So, and then if you want to get into leadership roles and risk management, you can do the CISM and CRISC. And these are some other certifications that they pay big bucks. Okay. And let's talk about, let me get a drink because my throat is killing me. My crack. This is my crack. I don't do crack, kids. Sorry. But so anyhow, get real world experience, right? So you don't need any fancy title to start, right? Like you don't need to have, I don't know. just fancy things, right? Especially from folks that maybe don't have a lot. When I started, I didn't have a lot. I didn't even have a computer. I got a computer from my school that I was going to it was like a hand-me-down. I didn't build my first computer, no lie, probably 10 years ago, right? That was probably when no, not even, Marius, 8 years ago. I built my own machine. So I wasn't always I don't know, someone that had a few bucks. Um, So home labs, they're free. You can set up a Kali machine. You can set up all this stuff for free 99. You can use channels like myself and so many other people that are on the internet building labs, building home labs. And if you have a decent computer, you can follow along, right? Doing CTFs, bug bounties, open source projects, and showcase your skills, right? So if you're on Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, there's Rangeforce, there's GitHub, there's Pico CTF. There's a whole bunch of CTF, out there. And what I would recommend is get the hands-on. And for employers, how can you justify going back to like showcasing your work, right? So if you're doing a hack the box machine, do a write-up. Do a write-up, and you don't have to have money for a website. Use GitHub, it's free. Or just put it on your LinkedIn or whatever you want to do, right? You don't need to have some fancy domain and fancy website and put all that stuff. No, like you're just starting out. We want to get to the six figures, right? We're not there yet. So that's a pretty much an overhaul of that. Okay. So next is network, like your like your your salary depends on it. What does that mean? So say for example, this is a spoiler. It does connect with people in the industry, join local security meetups, attend B-sides or DEF CON, or whatever kind of meetups that are in your village, in your town, in your neighborhood, or whatever. Um, and be active on LinkedIn. And this is something I'm starting to do more. Like I was really active and then life happens, right? And even with my YouTube channel, right? Like life happens, I moved, I had some life changes in my life, and sometimes you have to pull back, right? And so your next opportunity may come from a comment, not just a job. And this is so true. I want to tell you a story, right? So I was with the company for 6.5 years. I didn't apply for the job. I played, like I said, I play hockey, and I was watching a Panthers game. The Florida Pan, they just won the Stanley Cup again. It's a NHL hockey team here in the States. And I had like probably a nerd shirt. I don't know, maybe a hacker shirt. I don't know. I don't really dress up. Till this day, if you ever see me in a conference, I'm wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. That's me. I don't dress up fancy. So I probably had a nerd shirt on, and guy was like, "Hey man, like, do you work in security?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." And this was 8 years ago now. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm actually looking for a role because I was at a role and they were like laying people off, and before they were laying my department off, and I was trying to be proactive. I wasn't looking for a job, right? I wasn't looking, but I was just like, yeah, like I'm looking, whatever." And he goes, "Okay, like here's my business card. Come to this is when people came to the office, right? He's like, come to my office tomorrow. No, on Monday. This was on a Saturday." And I was like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, I'll come in. He's like, "I only need you for like 10 minutes. I want to show you something and see if you're able to do it." I was like, okay, cool. And back then I was doing more network security engineering. So I was doing more firewalls, IDS, IPS, Cisco, ASAs, firepower threat defense, and doing more firewall stuff. And he had a situation that they couldn't, like the engineers couldn't figure out. Right? And I think he just wanted to see how I thought, the methodology that I thought through this process. And he had something called an MPLS. So MPLS was just a network. And then he had OSPF routes through the networks between, because they weren't a full Cisco shop, right? So a full Cisco shop, you're probably going to use something called EIGRP. But anyhow, like, and I helped him. I was like, "Hey, like, I don't know how much time I have because I have to get to work." And I got there like 7:30 a.m. and I started work at 9 a.m. So I had like maybe an hour and then maybe a half hour to get to my job. and literally said, "Can you start tomorrow?" And I was like, "No, I can't do that because I want to be respectful for the company I'm with. I want to give my 2 weeks at least." And he goes, "Okay, um, I'm going to pay you for the 2 weeks that you're not here." And I was like, "No, you don't have to do that, right? You don't have to do that." And I guess he wanted to secure me, not me going home and thinking about, "Oh shit, like, is this going to be a good move?" Blah blah blah. Like, he was trying to buy me, right? Which back then I was like, I thought he was just trying to be nice and all that stuff. So the moral of the story is, like, you never know when you're going to find your next position and how you're going to find it. And where, if I, then I went to Hack SpaceCon last year, and then I started doing contracts with Red Seer, right? I didn't really apply. I just talked to folks in the industry, and the founders of Hack SpaceCon owned Red Seer. And I was like, "Hey, if you guys are looking for pen testers," and we jumped on a call. And as long as you're not an a-hole, as long as you're cool, you, you know I think it goes a long way. At least for me it has. And I'm very nice. I love people. I love helping everyone. But if I want to say this, I'm trying not to use profanity as much as I can, but if you're going to be a dick, I can be a bigger dick, right? So be nice. That's all. And you never know when your opportunity is going to come. All right. So the next one here is deliver value, not just tasks. What do I mean by that? Like, so just like I said, right? I went into this opportunity to help this guy get his network back up and running. And it wasn't just a task that I'm like, okay, let me just do show run and config and look at the routes and blah 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 blah, like see what's up. Like, I delivered value to showcase, like, I got there at 7:30 in the morning. I did this before I showed him that my time is valuable, and I'm delivering, quality work, because I'm not just there just to show up and say, "Okay, I'm good to go. Peace." Right. So just make sure you do that. And that's something I've taken throughout my career. And yeah, it's paid dividends for sure. And then once you're in the door, six figures will come for those who, like, solve business problems with security. Just like I said, like, when I got onboarded on that company, I did a lot of stuff that I brought to that company that I felt like it solved a lot of problems. Automation stuff. And this is when automation was just popping. And so this is another skill, or another thing you can do, is make sure you communicate clearly with non-technical teams. What if you're talking to a PM or a project manager? Maybe they may not be as technical as you. So you have to make sure you bring it into layman terms to showcase or to communicate or convey non-technical things to those teams. Like, especially when you're doing pen testing, right? Don't be like, the client don't care how you exploited the system. If you ran Bloodhound and Crack Map Exact or whatever, Net Exact, whatever you're running, all these tools, they don't care about that. They're, okay, how can we remediate so this doesn't happen if you're a bad guy, right? So understand your audience, maybe I should say, right? And then think like an attacker, act like a defender. I put this on here because this is me on a daily basis, right? I'm a defender during the day, and but I think like an attacker, because if I'm trying to do something, or if I'm trying to bypass an EDR or do something like that, like, even though maybe some of these EDRs are getting really, really hard to bypass, I'm going to try to, think like the attacker, collaborate, because I'm not the best EDR bypasser, right? So you can collaborate with other folks in the community who's better than who's better than you at that specific task. And yeah, so that's that's something that I think about. That's just me. And take ownership of incident solutions and process improvements, right? So understand the incident. I'm going from a defender now. Like, if we have a ticket or an incident in for an example, our Snow, or I don't know, ServiceNow or ITSM, or whatever you're doing for your incidents, don't only just like, oh, this is the solution, whatever the solution is. Understand and put a process to improve the incident handling process, if that makes sense. In my head, it makes sense. Hopefully, it makes sense. So, like, you have your triage, you get your incident, you triage it, you escalate it, or you fix or whatever. Just make sure the process of what you're doing is always improved the next time. Don't just put a solution in like, oh, I fixed it by blocking this email in Mimecast, which is a email filtering, and now Daniel can get emails from infosecpath.com, right? So, why was it blocked? What was blocking it? Was it a SPF record? Was it DCAM? Was it whatever I'm just talking about that because we're talking about emails. But, understand the solution. Don't just put something in place to get to the next ticket. Really take pride in what you're doing because it's going to show. It's going to show. Trust me. All right. And we're almost done here. So six figures isn't about hacking skills. It's about understanding risk, being adaptable, and always consistently leveling up. Cybersecurity is a career, not just a job, right? And that's pretty much my message to the world, right? It's not about just hack and sack or defending, and oh shit, like where am I going to get my next buck, or my next dollar, or my next whatever is in your currency? It's all about it. What did they say? Like it's a marathon, not a sprint, or whatever, or it's a sprint, not a marathon. I don't know, whatever that saying is, right? And that is it. So I want to say, yeah, thank you. If you have any questions, I'll hang out here. What time is it? It's 10:30. I'll hang out for another 20, 30 minutes. I already canceled my 10 o'clock my thing. So we're good here. So yeah, Dan, it's all you, man.
Thank, thank you very much, Pat, for that awesome report. I just want to,
It's breaking up.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So you mentioned that solve business problems with security, right? Communicate clearly with non-technical teams. Hear me properly.
I'm not sure if it's just me. The sound is really low. Is it just me? Hey Gabriel, it's nice to meet you too. Appreciate it. I'm just
All
looking
right.
at the
So can you hear me now?
yeah, it's way better. Way better.
All
Yeah.
right. So I said you mentioned that try to communicate clearly with non-technical teams. It's very, very important. And one of the things that you said that stood out to me was when you mentioned network, right? On LinkedIn. For example, the job with Tech Squad came from a comment by Glenn, right? So I had a video posted and Glenn commented on it, and that was the beginning of the story. So it's very important for folks out here to know that networking is very important. I mean, InfoSec part is not a guest to many of these conferences. Besides, it has been on. How many besides have you been on? And parts. How many besides?
Oh man, how many B-sides now? Shit. Um, Probably about 10.
Yeah. So it's very very important that we network and communicate. All right. So I would just say some. We have some questions for those that registered. They had some questions for you. So I'll just take about two questions and we'll call it a day. So one of the questions we have here is, how do we upskill fast and land jobs? How do we upskill fast and land jobs?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I don't think it's going to happen fast. I would take that out because that's saying you have an expectation tomorrow, right? Don't do that. I would say, how can you upskill your skills to land a job? So make it more of a longevity, like a journey, not a sprint, right?
Yeah.
So I believe going back to what Dan said, like networking, right? And showcasing what you're doing. If you're setting up a new server at home, it doesn't have to be cybersecurity, right? If you're just
Mhm.
saying, oh, you went to your local church and they have some old computers, right? Whatever. Or maybe they can't afford an IT guy. So maybe you can go there and volunteer saying, okay, I'm learning. Don't say you're like some expert and then you fucking blow up the network, right? And you can say, hey, I'm learning. I'm willing to donate my time to help you. And now you're upskilling, right? You're upskilling your skills because maybe you never touched a switch before. Maybe you never installed a firewall, right? So the beauty thing about now versus when I started, there's a lot of virtual firewalls. Like if you want to learn Cisco, you can use Cisco Packet Tracer. So like there's so much that you can do that's just at your fingertips on the internet. So that's what I would say in just network with people. And like I said, be nice because the word gets around if you're a dick, that's it. Your doors are closed. It's and it has happened because I tried to get someone a job last year and I knew him. He was nice to me. Like he's a cool guy, but I love him, but he's a dick, right? He's not very nice to people in the community. He thinks he's a Mr. Know-it-all. He's, this kind of person that just like, and he was struggling finding a job. And I was like, hey man, like the word gets around. You know what I mean? Like if you're not nice, then someone's gonna say, yo, like this guy he's an asshole, so keep him off your team. And you know, so and he's still, I don't even know if he like I don't even know if he had a job now. And this was last year. It's not like a great friend, it's more of an acquaintance, like through the community. Um, but yeah, the
Yeah,
moral of the story is be nice and just keep leveling up your skills and you will be recognized.
definitely. So be nice to people. Don't talk harshly. Some people talk very badly, and you're like, why? All right. So I'll just take one more question, and this question is: how do I optimize my CV when applying for cybersecurity jobs? How do I optimize my CV?
Man.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think the way you would optimize your CV or your resume, for those people that don't know what a CV is, maybe there's someone in the States like, what's a CV? We don't use CV, we use resume. Um, but the way to optimize that is to just showcase, like, say, for example, if you have a GitHub or if you have a YouTube channel or if you have your LinkedIn and wherever you're posting all your work, if you have your own website or whatever, like make sure that's on your resume or your CV. And that's how you can optimize that. And if you're doing home labs, if you're doing projects, like if you're interning somewhere, like anything, you don't want to write a book because no one wants to read a CV that's a book, right? Try to keep it to 2, maybe 3 pages max. But if a lot of people here are new to the industry, you're barely going to have 1 page, right? So any project that you use or any project that you work on, just make sure that you document that, right? Whatever it is. I helped my grandma, put together her printer and I was able to make her print her documents. Just put that on there because you're just starting. You're not an expert. Like, and you can say like self-employed or freelancer and you help people in your village. You help people in your neighborhood or whatever. Like anything you do, especially in the beginning, and I made a post yesterday or whenever I did that about a little bit about my story. I want to make a full video because a lot of people don't know my story, but like I was an electrician when I came from New York to where I'm at now. I was an electrician, and then one friend said, "Hey, like, do you want to work in IT?" And I told that was literally words. I said worse words, but I was like, I think I'm too dumb to do that, right? Because like I told you guys, I grew up in poverty, poor, couldn't really read that well. Like I grew up in a place that I didn't have it all. Like when people think, oh, America, like everyone has this glamorous life, it's not true. Don't fucking look at the media and think it's like that, right? Um, so like coming up, I always had this self-doubt in my heart, in my like my insecurity about my abilities, just because of the situation I was in. So never, obviously, what I'm saying, I know I'm venting because this might resonate with someone in this chat, right? This might, oh man, I'm living in this space. Maybe you're not the best reader. Maybe you're not the best at whatever you're doing, but you can overcome that. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah,
Thank you very much, Pat, for that. In summary, don't let your situation define what you become. I mean, like you
yeah,
said, it started out as an electrician and now Pat is one of the most sought after security professionals in the world. So it's very crazy, right? So continue to do what you do, continue to upskill, and I mean, the sky is beyond your limits. All right, so I will take just one more question. If anybody has any question on chat, just a question, and we'll wrap it up. Does anyone have any question to ask Pat? You might not have this opportunity again. Pat is not very easily accessible. So yes, Gabriel. All right, you have a minute for your question, please. Let's make it very fast. Let me unmute. All right, Gabriel, you can speak.
I think Gabriel's still on mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed the session. It's nice meeting you, Pat. Thank you. And I'm going to check your YouTube channel, definitely. So my question is, certification is always a very, very big issue most time, especially for us here in this part of the world. The conversion rates and everything, getting a particular set, and we are trying to start, we are trying to begin. What advice do you have for us? Because over here, let's say I don't know definite price for Security Plus, but I think OSCP. I saw a post one time that OSCP was around $1,700+ and if you want to convert that to our currency over here, it's almost 2+ million, which is a very big amount of money for an exam. You just write once, and if you don't pass, you fail. The pressure, everything is there. You are going to be afraid when writing the exam because you are going to be shaking. Like, if I fail this, that money is all gone. I've wasted it. So, what advice would you have for us on how to get these certifications? Because there are some people there are companies who actually give them these certifications for free. They just go get the certification, they pass it, no pressure, nothing. But some of us don't have that opportunity. What advice do you have for us so that one wants to get a certification? It might not cost us much. It might not cost us anything. Like, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think I gathered all yours because it was breaking up. It was coming in and out, at least for me. But for the OSCP, if you're looking to get your OSCP and you don't have the funds, yes, it is like $1,700, and that's a lot of money. It's even a lot of money for me, right? It's like it's a pretty penny. So if you want to get into the field and break into the field, and I would recommend, there's so many alternatives, right? And what you can do and how you can address that is, say, for example, you can go from TCM, they have the PMPT, CPTS from Hack the Box. If you get these other certifications that are a lot cheaper and you get this, and then you can you can say like, excuse me, like, hey, I can go get the OSCP. I have the skills, but I just don't have the funds, right? So maybe someone can sponsor you, say, okay, like you have 30 or 60, 90 days to get this certification and then if you cannot achieve this in whatever amount of time, then you get like kicked off the project or whatever, get fired or whatever the case may be, laid off or whatever. But I think this is more important for you to do, like, don't worry about just the OSCP, gather all the intel and gather all the information that you need, and then go for this certification if it's needed, because there's some companies that, it's not going to be the gold standard for long. I want to tell you that, like Hack the Box, and there's other certifications that are so much more important than just the OSCP, because people are really recognizing that. And the OSCP, I feel like, at least in the States, it's not as, King Kong anymore. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, it's the top of the top. It's more like, CPTS, that holds more weight than the OSCP, especially like if you ask someone that did both of them, like, okay, you have your CPTS and you have your OSCP, give me your feedback, right? And that would be a good question. Maybe you could throw that on LinkedIn, right? Maybe that's how you can start your journey. Like, hey, I have a question. I understand that the OSCP is super expensive. Oh, I got a piece of hair in my mouth. And then cat hair. But so yeah, it's, like, just, I have a cat, and the hair comes through my office and gets everywhere. But so like the OSCP and CPTS, just like say like which one like if you can get both, like if you have $1,700 or if you have all the money in the world, right? And see how people address that question. And what that's going to do for you is engagement. You can have some kind of traction to your profile that now you have people, okay, he's interested in this. Now you're going to get, and you can tag me, you can tag Dan, you can tag Glenn, you can tag whoever, if you know those folks, and just tag me. And I can't really answer the OSCP question because I don't really know too much about the OSCP. But the CPTS, I think, would be a lot better option. Yeah. Oh, I think you lost, Dan. I think you lost your sound.
Trial.
Skip it minutes. Skip it minutes.
There you go. Now I can hear you.
Sorry, give me a minute.
Yeah,
All
no
right,
problem.
yes. So due to time constraints, we would have to come to an end. It was an amazing session with you, Pat. I am very honored. Right. So for any question you have, please, you can definitely reach out to Pat on LinkedIn, connect with him, follow him. He has a YouTube channel too. You can also watch his content. Very amazing. All right. So before we call this program to an end, I would like to share my screen.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I'm having an echo.
Hey, you have like 5 people talking. The echo.
Oh my God. All right. Oh my God. Where's this sound coming from? Oh yeah. I think I've solved it now. All right. So let me just share my screen in a bit. Like I said, and as Pat has also said, it doesn't stop here, right? Next month, not the same date, but a time like this too, we have another session, and this is also for the females in the security space. The session is She Can Act, right? And bringing up a very wonderful lady in cybersecurity space. I mean, you don't want to miss this. Also, please, on Thursdays, Pat also has his own sessions, right? Where he brings industry experts to Pat. What's the name of? Is it Thirsty Thursday?
Yeah, Thirsty Thursdays. And it's
Exactly.
interesting because I don't drink alcohol, right? I never drank alcohol in my life. So Thirsty Thursday, I don't know how it is in Africa, but here in the States, like people go get drunk on Thursday and it's like Thirsty Thursdays. So they go get drunk and then go get the ladies. And I don't
Oh.
drink. Yeah.
All
I
right,
don't
but
drink.
yeah, those sessions are very, very amazing. And you'd also the ISP 37 hackers too is a Discord channel you can also join. I'll probably share that on the community. I have Discord link. I'll probably share that. You can check it out. It's amazing. You learn a lot. I mean, I think I joined the community in May, and I mean different. I've learned a lot. I mean, I've learned a lot personally. So please also check that out. That will be all for today. It was an amazing session. I'm very overwhelmed. I have so many things going on around me. We don't have electricity here, so my other laptop is almost dead. So I have to. And we are streaming on YouTube, so I have to just call the session to an end. Pat, thank you very much.
Yep.
I hope to see you another time. I hope to have another session with you. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Hamid. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you again this time next month. Bye,
All right. Take care.
everyone.
Much love, guys.